Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Mike Lindsley. It's the ML Sports Platter. We are brought to you by Bryant and Stratton College, and of course, our friends at Bowers and Company CPAs and the Allen Angus Pub, home of the best darn Angus burger in town, home of the best burger in New York State, the Power Play Burger in 2018. Before and after all the big events in Central New York, whether you live here or not, you're coming from out of town, seeing family and friends, make sure you go stop by. Great draft beer selection. Bottle, pretty much can get everything. Awesome burgers, tremendous wraps, salads to die for. The broccoli cheddar soup is my favorite of all time. It's not even close. And finally, God, you got to get dessert. It is the 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. And I am here to preview the day in Major League Baseball as a part of the IGTV Facebook and YouTube platform here with the ML Sports Platter, which I've constructed through all of my different entities, pinstripepassion.com, my podcast as well, which you can download and subscribe to via Google Play Music, iTunes, and wherever else your podcast can be downloaded on several other platforms, Deezer, TuneIn, CastBox. You can find it all via your smartphone device. We'll spend about 9 minutes here on today's games, and I'm looking forward to a lot of things here. First of all, in the nation's capital, starting this morning at 11:05, you've got the Red Sox and the Washington Nationals starting up in D.C. And how about this? It's Eduardo Rodriguez pitching for the Boston Red Sox. And for the Washington Nationals, it's Erick Fedde, the former Syracuse Chief. How about that? He is a guy who I think Mike Rizzo and company are hoping is a mainstay in the rotation. The Nationals have been a joke this year. They're only 42-42. They're at 500 on July 4th. They really need to make a run in the month of July. Yankees and the Braves. What a series this has been. Each team has taken one. Yanks won last night 6-5, almost blew the lead. Bullpen's been depleted. Aroldis Chapman used 3 straight days. Acuna homers in Game 1 and the extra frames to win it for the Braves. They'll play Game 3 to decide who wins the rubber match here. Julio Teheran, a guy who I thought the Braves might trade this year at the deadline. Surprise, surprise. This team is 14 games over 500, and they're leading the NL East with tremendous talent, youth, vibrant feeling around this team with the guys like Ozzie Albies, Dansby Swanson, and of course Ronald Acuna Jr. They'll send their ace Teheran to the hill today in the Bronx against CC Sabathia, who continues to turn back the clock. Rays are at the Marlins. That's Andres and Urena is your pitching matchup there. The Tigers are in Chicago to take on the Chicago Cubs. Liriano and Quintana is the pitching matchup there. We continue to follow the Manny Machado situation as we approach the trade deadline in a few weeks. Where will he go? Well, Machado and the O's go to Philadelphia to play the Phillies today. And the Phillies, again, like the Braves, a bright spot in the NL East. They are a team that right now is 9 games over 500. And a big reason why is their young starting pitching. These guys do not get afraid of anybody. They just attack people. And Aaron Nola pitches today for the Philadelphia Phillies. You've got Velasquez pitching for this team. They brought in the veteran and Jake Arrieta for a 3-year deal who stabilized things. This Phillies team is very, very good. And do not sleep on another big-time half of the season for Philly in the second half. And if you're looking for somebody else to watch at the age of 26 in Major League Baseball, Odubel Herrera has had a fantastic year, an MVP candidate for the Philadelphia Phillies. Meanwhile, Padres are at the A's. Perdomo against Manaea. You've got the Angels in Seattle taking on the Mariners, a team that's 24 games over 500. That's Garrett Richards and Mike Leake for your pitching matchup there. And I've got to be on. Oh, by the way, back to Baltimore, Philly. Ramirez gets to start for Baltimore. So edge for sure there, Philly. But hey, it's baseball. You can't predict anything, Susan. You've got Mariners hosting the Angels right now, and it's Leake, as I mentioned, for Seattle up against Richards for the LA Angels. This has been a very disappointing season for the LA Angels of Anaheim. They had the big offseason splash, getting Shohei Ohtani to be a dual star here, to hit, to pitch, etc. He goes on the DL with the ligament problem. He's back today, folks, but only in hitting capacity. We'll see what he'll be able to bring to the table for the Angels. This is a team that's so far behind, it's going to take literally moving a rock and maybe 5 other boulders and maybe moving heaven and earth at the same time to get this team into playoff contention. But this Mariners team's been very, very exciting. I mean, when you take a look at guys like Paxton, you take, Felix Hernandez in the rotation, those are the guys you count on, no question. But it's been the offense. It's been guys like Gene Segura. It's been guys like Mitch Haniger who have been unbelievable. Mitch Haniger has 62 RBI this year, and he's a versatile player who can play the outfield, both center and right field positions. So this has been a fun deal here watching the Seattle Mariners. Remember, they were a sexy pick a couple years in a row, going back to maybe 2012, 13-ish. And this year, I didn't think they'd be that pick. They surprised me. They've been hot since they lost Robbie Cano. It's been one of the remarkable stories in baseball. Speaking of great stories in baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers today. They host Minnesota at 4:10. That's going to be Berrios pitching up against Mr. Anderson of Milwaukee. And I'll tell you what, ignore the win-loss, ignore the ERA. Chase Anderson's been a guy for this team in Milwaukee. Gives his team a chance to win every single night for the Brew Crew. Tremendous stuff there. And, we've seen the resurgence here of Jose Berrios. He was just recently in Rochester. I remember him pitching multiple times in Syracuse. This guy's going up against Anderson in Milwaukee. That's a fun clubhouse right now with Jesus Aguilar and company, Lorenzo Cain, Kristen Yelich with Milwaukee. They lead the NL Central by a game over the Chicago Cubs. Houston, my best team in baseball, with Garrett Cole today. They're in Texas, where they play baseball too, but they're in Arlington, not in Houston. They're at the Texas Rangers. Garrett Cole up against Minor. Mets are in Toronto. Oswalt and Stroman, your pitching matchup there. Again, keep an eye on the Blue Jays for the trade deadline. Will they move J.A. Happ? It appears as though they will. A lot of teams want J.A. Happ, including the New York Yankees. You take a peek now, obviously, at Josh Donaldson. Maybe they'll move him as well. White Sox are in Cincinnati, Covey and Romano. And, of course, the Dodgers are hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's Holmes and Rich Hill taking the mound there for an 8-10 jobber. The Giants are in Colorado for Suarez and Anderson. Should be a fun game there. The Giants are a team that's still within reach here of a wild card spot for the postseason. They've got a lot of postseason guys, a lot of pedigree there for San Fran. When you take a look at Buster Posey, you look at Brandon Crawford, you look at Brandon Belt, you look at Madison Bumgarner, you look at Pablo Sandoval. They got a lot of guys who have played in and won World Series games, won postseason games. Indians, like them a lot. They're in Kansas City. Trevor Bauer against who knows for Kansas City. It says TBD, and boy, that dreaded to be determined pitcher. He's got a great curveball, huh? But no, this is something else here with Cleveland. They've got the offense with Lindor and Encarnacion. Jose Ramirez has been terrific as well. But the question is, can their bullpen hold up long term? Is that going to be a bullpen in the second half that is going to be pretty good? Cody Allen has been you take a look at Andrew Miller. He's got the barking knee. They need those two guys for that bullpen to be dominant. And last but not least, those pesky St. Louis Cardinals. They're going up against the Arizona Diamondbacks out west, and it's McCollus against Patrick Corbin, the Cicero North Syracuse graduate. Of course, if you are a Central New York native, you know all about his story. He's coming up on free agency. He's battled back from Tommy John. The Cardinals, again, another really good story out of the NL Central. When you take a look at the Cardinals, take a look at the Brewers, you look at these two teams, they are challenging Chicago, making life very difficult there. St. Louis now healthy, looking like the old St. Louis Cardinals when they were winning World Series in 06 and 11. Not saying they're as good as those Albert Pujols-led teams, but they got a lot of character on this team. You take a look at Martinez and Carpenter. This team has been hitting the hell out of the baseball like crazy. They've got Yadi Molina. They've got some pretty strong young pitching as well, and they have overcome the injury to Alex Reyes as well. But Jose Martinez, almost 30 years old, he's been doing it. Molina's been doing it. Carpenter's been doing it. Fun team in St. Louis. So there's your 4th of July docket in Major League Baseball. We know all about the standings, obviously. It's Red Sox, Indians, Astros, and, of course, Braves, Brewers, and Diamondbacks. But a lot of teams are charging, including the likes of the Dodgers and the Cubs, etc. It's going to be a fun time. See if the Nationals can go on a second-half run as well. I'm Mike Lindsley. Have a great 4th of July. Download and subscribe to my podcast called the ML Sports Platter on Spotify, Google Play Music, and, of course, Apple Podcasts. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports. Videos across the board, IGTV, Facebook, and YouTube. Visit pinstripepassion.com for my Yanks and baseball commentary. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.